making good on the promise to shrink government. One of the promises President Trump made to American voters is that he would shrink the federal government. With the latest announcement that the National Security Council is set to lose as many as 330 people, the president is closing in on that goal.
We're going to do more with less and make the government lean and accountable to the people. We can do so much more with the money we spend. With the $20 trillion in debt, can you imagine that? The government must learn to tighten its belt, something families all across the country have had to learn to do, unfortunately, but they've had to learn to do, and they've done it well. My budget increases.
The National Security Council has been at work in Washington, D.C. since 1947. Congress created it at the beginning of the Cold War to coordinate policy between the various government national security entities, such as the military, all the way to the CIA. President Truman was unenthused and resenting Congress's impingement on his ability to handle foreign affairs. Nevertheless, he accepted its existence, and Truman, followed by subsequent presidents, kept manipulating its shape and makeup to help it make more congenial partner when working with the White House to defend American interests against overseas actors. Now, in the wake of 9/11, the NSC was reorganized with a new director of national intelligence replacing the head of the CIA at the NSC's helm and taking a place in the president's cabinet. Now, under President Obama's watch, the NSC grew in size and power, with as many as 450 people assigned to it when he merged the NSC and the White House staff supporting the Homeland Security's Council into a single national security staff. When President Trump assumed office, he set out about reorganizing the NSC structure and chain of command, in a significant part to cut down on the number of people mandated to attend these various meetings. President Trump is once again reworking the NSC, this time to bring it in line with his promises to make the federal government smaller and more responsive, as well as to break the flow of sensitive information NSC staff have to give to the media. The White House National Security Council staff is being downsized sharply in a bid to improve efficiency with the policy coordinating body by consolidating positions and just cutting staff in general. A second unspoken thrust of the overhaul is hoped for an end to what many critics see as a string of political damaging, unauthorized disclosures of sensitive information, leaks of President Trump's conversations with foreign leaders, and other damaging disclosures likely originated with the anti-Trump officials in the White House who stayed over, or as we like to call, holdovers, leftovers from the Obama administration, according to several current and former White House officials. White House National Security Advisor Robert C. O'Brien is leading the NSC to reform this effort. He revealed in a recent interview with the Washington Times that 40 to 45 NSC staff officials were sent back in recent months to the agencies where they originally worked or came from, with more likely to be moved out. The move will also backtrack from Obama-era changes that turned the NSC originally to an advisor committee into a significant playmaking agency. Bottom line, the last administration, Obama era, really bloated this particular agency. All right, the NSC is a coordinating body, and they are trying to get us back to a lean and efficient staff that can get the job done. In the Obama administration, NSC officials wielded enormous power. The NSC staff members were known to telephone commanders in Afghanistan and other locations in the Middle East with orders, a violation of military strict chain of command, said military officials with this familiar with those calls that were going on. I just don't think that we need the number of people that is expanded to under the last Obama administration to get this job done right, was quoted Mr. O'Brien. So this downsizing is consistent with other White House efforts to trim the federal government, something that will help both cost and efficiency. Even if you look at the Department of Education, Betsy DeVos has cut over 600 staff positions at the Department of Education. Although that's a decrease of only 14%, President Trump also relocated 2 research departments in the Department of Agriculture from Washington, D.C. out to Kansas City, bringing them geographically closer to the agricultural that they actually study. Government workers were not happy. Well, of course they wouldn't be. While one can be sympathetic to the people who resist having to uproot their lives, government work was never meant to benefit the bureaucrats. Just like when I was in the military and had to move every 3 to 5 years. Nobody cared, and there was nobody to write sad letters to about it. It should instead work for the taxpayer by providing core services efficiently and as cheaply as possible. This is what we need to get back to. Again, I'm Michael. This is the Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you. And where we go one, we go all.
Going to do more with less and make the government lean and accountable to the people. We can do so much more with the money we spend. With the $20 trillion in debt, can you imagine that? The government must learn to tighten its belt.